Before getting to it, I have to say straight up that this is not a trash list. Everything on this list is not things that are absolute garbage. These are just things that I watched and, maybe I liked it, but I thought it could have been better. That is where I stand with this list. And I want to know from you, what disappointed you in 2022? Without further ado, let's get to it. I was rhyming, boy. What's good people? Welcome to Whole Views. Thank you for clicking that thumbnail. My name is Corey, and today we're talking about the disappointments of 2022. Starting off the list, I would have to go with Black Adam. Now, if you look at the review, I'll link it in the description. I said Black Adam was good, and it was good in the sense that it wasn't absolute garbage. But whenever you watch a movie that's titled Black Adam or Superman or Black Panther, and then you watch that movie and you come away saying, I would like to see more Okoye, or I would like to see more Dr. Fate, or I would like to see more Lex Luthor. Like, obviously, the title character did not deliver, and that's kind of how I felt about the movie Black Adam. I think that it was good. It was an enjoyable experience that I had when I went and watched it. But the issue that I take away is that I didn't really want to see more of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I kind of wanted to see the world that he was set in. The fact that they have Cyclone and Atom Smasher present, tell me about that. The fact that Hawkman is referring to nth metal and he does appear to have his regenerative, reincarnated, show me some of that. The fact that Dr. Fate, Pierce Brosnan, was the best actor, as well as just the most intriguing character on the screen, is I'm kind of disappointed in what Black Adam, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character brought. And ultimately, financially, we talking about it, it's kind of a disappointment in that category too. So it's I definitely feel like that movie was a bit of a letdown. Not saying it's trash, not saying it's garbage, but it could have been better as a film, and it could have did better at the box office. I'm disappointed in Black Adam. Moving it right along, I want to go into number 4 on my list, and that would be The Woman King. Now, The Woman King, I feel like was a good movie, very good movie. But maybe it's not so much as a letdown as it is just I did not feel like I got what I was sold. I do not feel like I got what I wanted to get based on what the trailers sold me. So if you look in the description, I'll link my trailer reaction. I'll maybe link it up in the corners. I'll link the review. But when I watched that movie, I think to myself, I thought we would get more Viola Davis, and we did not get as much as I wanted. I thought that they would address the issue of those women being slave traders and, this empire being an empire that profited off of slave labor, and it just don't feel like they addressed it strongly enough. I'm pleased with the movie. I'm not saying that the movie was bad. I really love Lashana Lynch in it. I like the character of Nawe, even though I didn't go to see her. I liked her. And I feel like cinematography-wise, action-wise, the movie was very crisp and it was good. It was cohesive. The story made sense. It was good enough, but it's not what I thought I was going to get going in. And that's why ultimately I'm disappointed with that one. Now we've come to a point in the video where we are talking about things that are trash. And these are 3 shows that I just really feel let down by. So getting into it, Netflix did Resident Evil. Now, it's my fault, right? Because I watched the trailer for that and I was excited. And I like Resident Evil, and every Resident Evil titled property that has not been a game has always been garbage, or at least weird, just not at all what we see in the games. And I thought maybe I will enjoy the spin that they're putting on it with New Raccoon City in South Africa, with the high-tech background, with Lance Reddick, who was the best part of the show. But you got so much teenage angst from those daughters. And then when they aged those characters up, they barely resembled the characters that they was playing at a younger age. If it wasn't for a hairstyle, you wouldn't know who any of these people were. You get CGI that looked pretty decent, as well as situations and scenarios and new characters being introduced in the first 1, maybe 2 episodes. And then as the show progressed, CG got worse, dialogue got worse, scenarios for the characters to make it out of made less and less sense. Things kept happening that it devolved. It devolved so fast. By the time I got to episode 4, I was like, man, I don't know. And then when I got to 5, I just had to throw in the towel, y'all. Speed through it and came back and give my thoughts, which I'll link in the description. But man, I feel like that was one of the most disappointing shows of the year. And it's my fault because that trailer, those first few pieces of marketing got me up. And I was all the way let down. Number 2 on my list of different projects that's just really disappointing would have to be the Book of Boba Fett. Now, I'm into some murky waters here because Boba Fett debuted in December of 2021. Matter of fact, December 29th. But the show ran weekly, like well into 2022. So I'm including it here on this list. I have a lot of videos that I talked about Boba Fett on, doing the weekly recaps. But listen, I think I did a watch along for Boba Fett. And if you watch closely enough, I think I fell asleep. I really think I did because the show was boring. I was so uninterested in Star Wars' attempt to make a mafia style drama. It just never translated with those characters and with that setting. Just nothing about it came across to me as a mafia style drama. I had to read that in articles that came out later. I think it was a failed attempt. I think most people, even hardcore Star Wars fans, were let down by the Book of Boba Fett. And honestly, the show didn't get, to me, any level of interest until Mandalorian showed up in the last 2 or 3 episodes, and it became Mando season 2.5. Like that's really when the show was at its best. When you have side characters shining, because I don't feel like we learned much about Boba Fett besides he has some honor. That's it. That's all we learned. Like I don't feel like that's worth with it 10 to 12 episodes. I just don't feel like it's worth it. And the top spot, everybody, we're at that place where we're going to talk about, 1, I think the most disappointing, and 2, I think is universally accepted that it was disappointing, and that would be She-Hulk. Disney, Marvel, wet the bed right here, man. I don't think that show has many redeeming qualities. I was on the fence very much about the show after the premiere, but I was willing to give it a chance. You know, I didn't really care for the fourth wall breaks. I didn't really care for the way some of the explanations went as far as her and her power set and why she would be doing what she would be doing and why the story evolved the way it evolved. But ultimately, I think, and everyone can unanimously agree on this, that the finale is the part of the show that ruined everything else that came. I think the biggest issue with the show outside of that horrible finale, or the reason behind that horrible finale, is that the writers of the show, in my opinion, this is all opinion, I feel like those guys who wrote the show felt like we're smarter than everyone else. And we're going to show them by dropping seeds of different normal superhero show storylines throughout this 8 to 10 episode run. And then when we get to the end, we're going to flip it all on its head. And while that might sound good on paper, the execution of it was horrible. I did not care at all for that. Everybody talks about that last episode and they say things like, she was talking to the screen for 20 minutes. She even broke the glass and crawled through the screen. That was weird. I didn't really care for that. And people always say 20 minutes. That's how excruciatingly long that scene felt, because it really wasn't 20 minutes. It was more like 7, but it felt like forever. Why are you canceling all the things that we've invested into and conjectured and talked about online and built up this anticipation to see things get resolved and questions get answered? And then you just wipe the slate clean in the most nonsensical fashion that I believe most people have ever seen. It was very mind-blowing, very mind-boggling that they would choose to do that with the end of a show. So yes, She-Hulk is probably the most disappointing property that I've spent time with this year. More than that though, it's crazy because Disney and Marvel are still using that show to advertise their Disney Plus services. And I just find it strange. Why would you use that show? It's the show that people don't like. Why? Advertise anything else. Advertise one of the surprises for me that when I do that video, which is Andor. Why are you not advertising that? That's weird that you wouldn't advertise the better show. So that's the list of disappointments. Again, let me know what disappointed you. If you've watched this far, I thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And please don't hesitate to let me know what disappointed you in 2022. And that's all we have, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.